We live on a planet where we have a choice to either live in our power or to hand our power over to something or somebody else. And the thing is when our power, our electromagnetic or our magnetic field has weakened, this allows other energies or entities to enter or to start driving the body. So we are hosting other energies like a virus, right? So a virus cannot survive like other bacteria without a host. It does not live on its own. Now, there are plenty of other energies surrounding us, energies that we cannot see. These energies and entities are quite literally waiting for any person to slip up or for their energy field to be weakened enough to enter so they can survive and for their own selfish purposes, whichever that may be. So, today I wanted to talk about the 4 ways that these energies or entities or negative influences can enter or break down your force field. So, the first is the most obvious, and you are likely very familiar with, and this is going to be drugs and alcohol. So, anybody who has drank alcohol before or has been around anybody that has been drinking, they can start seemingly turning into another person or do things that they wouldn't normally do. This is with a lot of drugs, actually. So, alcohol, however, has been called spirits and was named spirits due to the nature of the substance, which allows spirits to enter your body. So often when people have done a spiritual cleanse, they can actually see at what point in time that they were so inebriated or whichever drug they were under the influence of. They can see when the entity or the energy was linked or attached to their body. This can be at any time, and also anybody who has ever been addicted to opiates is very familiar with the demons that, or I should say, when anybody who has stopped taking opiates knows that there are plenty of demons that they can literally physically feel and see leave their body or their energetic field or their space, because there are so many energies and entities that attach and attack at any time we have a weakened force field. They are living or searching or hunting and waiting for an opportunity to get inside of the body. So nobody is immune to this. And keep in mind, I say the word immune, but you can build your electromagnetic energy force field that builds your immunity to any of this. So we want to make sure we know what does weaken it. And any type of drugs and alcohol and any narcotic, all of those especially. However, any body chemical altering substance will do this. And this goes along with anything that alters the chemicals inside of your body or like dopamine. But having an addiction to things like that means anything that makes you addicted to things like dopamine, if it's not an actual substance but a habit that fills your dopamine, that has control over you. Okay, so caffeine and sugar are also substances, but a more lightweight substance that alters as well. And anybody who is familiar with doing healing work knows or should know that having these substances in your body, this does create a weakened force field, and what we are holding is transferred onto others. So this is not only people who do healing work and massage therapy, but even people who play or produce music or any type of service that we are offering onto others, this is shared through sound healing, any of that. So this is within everybody, but definitely something to keep in mind if you are quite literally working on or with other people in person as opposed to in a chair in a cubicle, right? So the other thing is that when we are trying to stop a substance or quit a habit, that we have already allowed these things to enter, right? So, what happens when you are trying to quit is it is miserable, correct? There is so much backlash. This is because those forces are screaming and crying to stay alive. So this is why when you are trying to quit something, this becomes really difficult, and suddenly you get all this opportunity to continue doing this because these forces are trying to stay alive through you. So definitely something to keep in mind, that drugs and alcohol especially weaken this field, but anything that has power over us is a choice. So the second way we allow these things to enter is through ignorance, and that is ignorance of the fact that this is even true and that there are forces that we cannot see living within us. A virus you cannot see when it is not inside of your body. It is undetectable because it doesn't exist, okay? It doesn't appear to exist, but it's there until it goes inside. So this is all part of the electromagnetic field. This is how these things transfer as well. So if you can get the message behind all of this, it is that we are in control of this, okay? So ignorance would be denying that this is in our control and that we do have the power, and it is our responsibility for ourselves to make sure that we keep our magnetic field strong to block these energies and entities of any kind. This is any negative energy from a relationship. It doesn't matter, but it is a choice. So ignorance would be denying the fact that it is one's own personal responsibility and one does have the power. And the only way that any other energy or entity has power, it is because you allowed that to enter, or because you are giving it attention. What we give our attention to is giving something power. So ignorance would be the denial of that. But we also typically have to give consent. So if we are giving consent to allow these things to infiltrate us, we are doing that by not only weakening our immune system alone, but quite literally if we agree to something on an app, right? The only way I am aware of that we do not give consent to everything negative that enters, that actually breaks through our force field, is by breathing. And that is because we cannot control what's in the air and we have to breathe. And air is a transmitter of energy and other things. So think of the air signs. Gemini that is what rules communication, okay? So through air, many things can travel, yet we cannot see them and we cannot control that always. So if we have our electromagnetic field built up strong enough, this is the only way I am aware of preventing things entering by means of breathing. So it is our duty to do this, however. So I did want to throw that in there though, but The third, the third way that these things can enter is through any type of disruption in the barrier or energy field as it is, such as schizophrenia or something of the like, where the person or the host does not have control over their energetic field. And I wouldn't know how to make sure that that person has their own force field to block these energies. So, other than them doing it themselves, so I haven't had any schizophrenic clients, but I did have somebody many years ago that would come into my place of work then, and communication was off, and I didn't know why or what it was, but it came to be that this person, about a year after coming in, probably came in one morning right when we opened and stayed till closing and was talking to a wall the entire day and night. And then the next day, so we did have to call some authorities, of course, to figure out what needed to happen because he wasn't in his right state of mind. But in a case of true schizophrenia, that is another way I know that things can enter because there is not a barrier. Although many people who are waking up to energies that they cannot see will feel that they are not in their right state of mind and may feel schizophrenic, and that is not the case. There is a difference because you still have control over your force field. So understand that it can be scary or seem weird when you are starting to see or hear or feel things that you could not before. This is because energetic centers are opening up, that you are able to access more of this, that we, things that are beyond maybe our two eyes or you are starting to now see, such as auras, etc. So that is the third way that I am familiar with. And another thing I did want to say about tapping into these energies, if you are looking to tap into things that the human eye normally wouldn't be able to pick up, or how to use discernment with these things, is to tap into the mother and goddess energy, or the upper energetic centers, or even the right brain. This is going to be the more intuitive and spiritual energy centers. So this is the goddess energy, the mother. So the father energy does supply us with the logic, and the mother energy teaches us how to use these things and how to use our intuition to discern what is good and what is not good. But if you can control your force field, if you can control your breathing and your exercise and your body and your mind, then you are not schizophrenic. So that is the third one. And the fourth one is the destruction of all through fear. So fear is the fourth way that you may be inviting negativity or negative energies or entities to enter yourself or your force field. So typically, you have to give consent in order for energies to enter in some form or another. Consent is a really big thing, but some energies or people even may place this fear over you, or some type of control where you feel, if you are in fear of an outcome or fear that something will happen, anything based out of fear. Fear is incredibly low vibrational, fear and guilt. So if you are feeling this fear for any reason whatsoever, this is another portal or gateway for this energy to enter in your force field. So, when you hear somebody say that they are sick, instantly your magnetic field just drops, or more so goes in defense mode out of fear. And this is the same as well for a feeling of lack or going without something. This also creates fear, but other energies or entities can also threaten you to that in some form or another will make you feel like you are going to go without or not be okay. So basically through intimidation. So fear is something that is not to be held, and when you have a strong, powerful, full force magnetic vibration and force field around you, this is something that you don't experience. So nothing can enter you that is unwelcome or unwanted. So keep that in mind. Anything that we are doing that is not true to our nature is compromising our health, our vitality, our strength, any of this. It is compromising our force field. So anything done that is not of integrity, basically. So although I am not religious, many religious by any means, many religious teachings that teach us a way of life to do no harm unto others, to not be deceitful in some form or another, to not lie, to not cheat, to not speak badly about another person. Not only are these things being done onto other people, but this is compromising our own force field. This weakens our force field if we are lying or being deceptive. And keep in mind that this is also lying or being deceptive to ourselves if we are denying our true nature. Another thing is that our subconscious doesn't know if we were talking badly about somebody else or committing some type of harmful act upon another. It does not understand that it is another person and not ourself that we are speaking this about. All it hears is the actual words or feel that energy, whether it is to somebody else or ourselves, not to mention the laws of the universe and karma and the feelings and actions that we are emitting or putting out into the universe is returned to us quite literally. So this all is kind of the same thing. Anything that we are doing, whether it is lying to ourselves, denying our truth, putting toxic chemicals in our body, or if it is upon somebody else, this is weakening our power and weakening our force field. So there is truth to having high integrity and this holding a lot of power. So this also is why we do have to leave people and situations where they are at times, because this is a time right now, especially, that people are waking up to their power and are truly working on strengthening their own, or working on strengthening their force and their power. We cannot strengthen somebody else's for them. People that we have been around may not be at that part of their journey right now, but it is detrimentally weakening to our own force field if we are to continue to stay in places that are of lower integrity than what we are headed for, what our potential is, right? So if we are working on building these things for ourselves, the people around us likely are not going to be on the same exact path that we have been around at that time, which means staying in those energetic areas of that lower energy where we were before is going to continue to bring our energy down. This is why we do have to move on and move forward regardless, because this is weakening and this allows negative things to enter and to come to us, and we cannot do that. We cannot allow that. It is not worth risking our energy when we cannot even save somebody else's, if that makes any sense, or strengthen theirs for them. That is not how it works. Everybody has their time to step into their power, and that is at all times, which means this is something that we need to continue doing and working on. the ways that we can strengthen our force field to block these things from affecting our power is, first and foremost, the sun cleanses your energy field. So you can sun gaze and visualize that happening. And regardless, it is going to cleanse your field anyways, but you close your eyes while you're looking at least in that direction. But being outside and having natural sunlight at all does help. So grounding, so it is basically the four elements. Grounding actually changes your electromagnetic field as well and powers it. So you will want to be barefoot on the ground wherever you can be, but as long as it's not on cement, right? So if you are on dirt or grass or earth, basically, so any natural earth, this also strengthens your field, and so does breath work. So when we do breath work and breathing through yoga or meditation, or simply taking even a few minutes out of the day to practice certain types of breathing, this increases the oxygen flow in our bloodstream. So there's the air, and drinking lots of water is purifying, healing, and we also can train the water. We can form the water into an energy that we want it to be and drink it. That is fire, air, earth, and water. These are all ways, and it is nature that will strengthen our electromagnetic or our magnetic field. Keep in mind that what we allow into our energetic field is a choice, other than breathing, of course. I will catch you guys on the next one.